Well, she's fashionably lean, and she's fashionably late. She'll never rank a scene, she'll never break a day. But she's no drag, just watch the way she walks. She's a 20th century fox. She's a 20th century fox. No tears, no fears, no ruin years, no clocks. She's a 20th century fox. Oh, yeah. She's the queen of cool, and she's the lady who waits. Sets her mind, let's school, it never hesitates. She won't waste time on elementary talk, 'cause she's a 20th century fox. She's a 20th century fox. Got the world locked up inside a plastic box. She's a 20th century fox. Oh, yeah. 20th century fox. Oh, yeah. 20th century fox. She's a 20th century fox.
Oh, they're so close. I know. Look at all the way back. Yeah, I guess we should.
Please take a seat. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat services this morning will be led in part by Heidi Kaufman as she becomes a bat mitzvah, but it's a worship service. And a worship service on Shabbat, that is a service that we have every Sabbath, requires worshipers. We're not here as a performance. Heidi is not here to perform, but rather to lead us in prayer. And prayer requires those who will offer prayer. And for that, we need you. We need you to read along in English, and where possible, to participate in the Hebrew, to offer forth the prayers that you have in your heart. For some, prayer comes easily because you are used to prayer and accustomed to prayer. And for others who are seldom in a house of worship, it seems strange and formal. For those who find it unusual, take your time. Listen to that inner voice that's in you. Break through the thoughts of what I'm wearing and who I'm sitting next to, and look at what that person over there is wearing, and what's this? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? And I'm getting hungry, or I'm full, or my foot hurts. You can't pray if all you're seeing is the surface. You can't have a relationship if all you're seeing is skin. God is within and all around us. And it needs us to open our eyes and open our hearts and to look deep at the world and in ourselves. And so, at times of prayer, there's a magic that can transform a community and transform an individual from one who simply floats around from experience to one who actually is a part of the experience of life. And it is for that reason that we begin our service by saying, Ma tovu ohelecha Yaakov. How wonderful it is when we come together and pray. How wonderful it is when we can transform ourselves into children of God. On page 283, Ma tovu ohelecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tohu ohelecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tohu ohelecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. On page 284, recite the prayer for our health. Again, there are those who, on a daily basis, will only know of their pains and their aches and their tzuras. And the rabbi said, start off every day by realizing that you are filled with nikuvim, halalim, ducts and tubes, veins and arteries. That if one of them should open or close at the wrong time, you would die. If we begin the day by realizing the miracle of life, the miracle of what works, then we start to count our blessings. As we say in English on page 284, blessed is our eternal God, creator of the universe, who has made our bodies with wisdom, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous fashioner and sustainer of life, source of our health and our strength, we give you thanks and praise. Together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. Blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with his mitzvot and commands us to engage in the study of Torah. We say in English, eternal our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. Blessed is the Eternal, the teacher of Torah to his people Israel. These are the obligations without measure, whose reward too is without measure. We say in English and in Hebrew, Kibud Aveim Ugemilut Chasadim Gahashkamat Beit HaMidrash Shacharit Ba'aravit Achnasat Orchim Uvikur Cholim Achnasat Kala Ulvayat Hamet Viyun Tfilah V'haba'at Shalom Bein Adam L'Chavero. The Talmud Torah Kineged Kulam. As we say, the soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as I have breath, therefore, I will give thanks to you, O Lord my God, God of all ages, Master of all creation, Lord of every human spirit. Blessed is the Lord, in whose hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan esech v'bina, l'havchin ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokek kifufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin tzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'givurah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'tifarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai u'tenuma me'afapai. Lord our God, God of all ages, school us in your Torah and bind us to your mitzvot. Strengthen in us the voice of conscience. Prompt us to deeds of goodness and bend our every impulse to your service, so that this day and always we may know your love and the goodwill of all who behold us. Blessed is the Lord who bestows love and kindness on his people Israel at all times. Master of all the worlds, not in reliance upon the righteousness of our deeds do we place our longings before you. We look instead to your abundant mercy. For what are we? What is our life? What our faithfulness? Are not all the conquerors as nothing before you, and those of renown as though they had not been? The learned as if they had no knowledge, and the wise as if without understanding. Many of our works are vain, and our days pass away like a shadow. Since all our achievements are insubstantial as mist, how dare we look upon ourselves as higher than the beasts? Yet despite all our frailty, we are your people, bound to your covenant, called to your service.
Ashreinu, Ashreinu, Matov Elkeinu, Matov Elkeinu, Umanayim Goraleinu, Umayavai Rishateinu. Ashreinu, Ashreinu, Matov Elkeinu, Matov Elkeinu, Umanayim Goraleinu,
The Pesukei de Zimra on page 290. Rabbis knew that it took time to get into the mood for prayer. So first we had the Yerchot HaShachar, thinking of our personal physical needs, our emotional and spiritual needs. And then, as we said, thank God you allowed me to wake up this morning, Modeh ani lefanecha, and I have a little bit of my koach, a little bit of my strength. Then I can start to appreciate the grandeur of creation. So this is what the Pesukei de Zimra is. Beginning to recite the blessings. Now we begin to recite blessings even before our worship service. The service itself doesn't begin until Heidi will stand next to me and we'll sing the Baruch Hu, sing the welcome to service. So what are we doing right now? Getting prepared for service. We count our blessings. Count our blessings before we're able to really appreciate life. How can we give prayer to God before we appreciate what we have? And so, the Pesachei Zimra, songs of praise, of blessing. Baruch Shema v'hayolam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Haseh v'reshim, Baruch Omer v'aseh. Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be. Blessed is the source of creation.
Blessed is the one whose word is peace.
Blessed is the one whose compassion covers the earth and all its creatures.
Blessed is the living and eternal God, ruler of the universe, and the source of the living God.
With songs of praise, we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, our God and King, for you are the source of life in the universe.
Blessed is the eternity King whom our praise.
The heavens declare the glory of God. The arch of sky reveals his handiwork. They have no speech. They use no words. No voice of theirs is heard. Let's turn to Psalm 92 on page 292, the very bottom. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, a song for the Sabbath day. Tov, 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 l'Adon, tov, l'Adon, l'Adonai. Tov, 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 l'Adon, tov, l'Adon, l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, l'shimcha elyon. Uzamer, uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov, 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 l'Adon, tov, l'Adon, l'Adonai. 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 It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to tell of your love in the morning, to sing at night of your faithfulness, to pluck the strings, to sound the lute, to make the harp vibrate. The fool will never learn, the dullard never grasp this. The wicked may flourish like grass, all who do evil may blossom, yet they are doomed to destruction, while you, O Lord, are exalted for all time. See how your enemies, O Lord, see how your enemies shall perish, how all who do evil shall be scattered. You lift up my head in pride, I'm bathed in freshening oil. I shall see the defeat of my foes, my ears shall hear of their fall. The righteous shall flourish like palm, from tall like cedars and weapon. Rooted in the house of the Lord, he shall be my strength. Proclaiming the Lord is just, my rock and praise him from all. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od l'lucha selah. תהילה לדוד, ארוממך אלוהי המלך, ברווחה שמך לעולם ועד. בכל יום אברכך, ועלה שמך לעולם ועד. גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. לא לדור יסבת מעשיך, ובורותיך יגידו. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נבלותיך עשיך. ועזוז נורותיך יאמרו, הודלתך אספרנו. זכר רב טובך יביאו, וצדקותך טוב אדוני לכל, ברחמיו על כל מעשיו. יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. ולי לבני אדם גבורותיו, וכבוד אדם מלכותו. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. שומר אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים. עיניך אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. פותח את ידיך, ומסביר לכל רצון. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת. רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיע. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך בדבר עולם. הללויה. 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 בקדשו. הללויה. ברכי עוזו. הללויה. Hallelujah, 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 Gevurota. Hallelujah, 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 take a shofar. Hallelujah, 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 tov umatvor. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'minim v'ugal. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'tikrei shama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'tikrei truah. Kol ha-neshamat, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol ha-neshamat, hallelujah, hallelujah. The conclusion of the Pesukei Zimra is on page 300 as we recite the blessing in Hebrew and in English. Baruch Ata Adonai El Melech Gadol B'Tishbachot El HaHodaot Adon HaNefalaot Haboche B'Shirei Zimra Melech El Chai HaOlamim. Blessed is the
Lord, the sovereign God, the Lord of wonders.
Please rise to the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgada v'yitgada shemer Adon v'aman v'rach rotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachom ad yomechom v'chedecho beit Yisrael b'avgaram v'zman karim v'maruch amin yehi shemer Adon v'morach le'ol le'amaya Yisrael ישתבח יפעל ותרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר יתעלב יתהלל שמר קודשה לילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה להמירה ועלמה וימרו אמן.
Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uberei hoshet, oseh shalom uberei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha b'rachamim, utubo mekadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma'aradu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chokhma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevet ma'aseh yadecha, v'al yoresh asita v'chasela, Baruch atah Adonai Haser HaMavarot. Praise be the Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who makes light and creates darkness, who ordains peace and fashions all things. With compassion he gives light to the earth and all who dwell there. With goodness he renews the work of creation, continually day by day.
How manifold are your works, O Lord. In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your creations. Let all bless you, O Lord our God, for the excellence of your handiwork, for the glowing stars that you have made. Let them glorify you forever. Blessed is the Lord, the maker of heaven.
Deep is your love for us, O Lord our God, and great is your compassion. Our Maker and King, our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. Be gracious now to us and teach us. Have compassion upon us, O source of mercy, and guide us to know and understand. Learn and teach, observe and uphold with love all the teachings of your Torah.
והערב עלינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבנו ליחווה ויירא את שמך.
Enlighten us with your teaching. Help us to hold fast to your mitzvot, and unite our hearts to love and revere your name.
Then shall we never be shamed, for we shall put our trust in you, the great, holy, and awesome one. We shall rejoice and be glad in your salvation, for you, O God, are the author of many deliverances. In love you have chosen us and drawn us near to you to serve you in faithfulness and to proclaim your unity.
Blessed is the Lord, who in love has chosen his people Israel to serve him.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלטתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובתחומך. ובשרתם נאות חביתך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, אותתם עמוסות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, וייתן קדושים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You shall love
the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being, so that you may not try to miss this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children, speak them on your way, and lie down when you rise up. Honor the sign on your hand, and the least of them will be your eyes. Strive on the doors of your house on your way.
Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome and good, beautiful is this eternal teacher.
this truth belongs to you forever.
He abides through all generations. His name is eternal. His throne stands firm. His sovereignty and faithfulness are everlasting.
Words live and endure, true and just for all eternity.
Lord our God, you redeemed us from Egypt.
Set us free from the house of bondage.
For this the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you.
Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome.
Who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed.
Whose hands to fall and cry out to him.
All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. Like Moses and Israel, we sing to him this song of rejoicing.
Mi kamocha nedabakodesh. No ratehilo, no ratehilo, O Sefer. Adonai lo, Adonai lo, Elam
O Rock of Israel, come to Israel's help. Fulfill your promise of redemption for Judah and Israel. Our Redeemer is the Lord of hosts, the Holy One of Israel. Blessed is the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel.
Please rise. Su Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Uftechenu Mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael. Go Aleinu Adonai Tzavot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. The Amidah is found on page 306 and then continues through 314. It is first recited silently because we first have the opportunity to open our hearts as individuals before God. And then after we pray silently and individually, then we add our voices together for communal worship. So first we stand before our God and open our hearts. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot U'Mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem Leman Shmo B'Ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Hoshia Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Ravim Somech Noflim V'Ralfei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umkayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Geburot Umidom Melech Meimir Umchayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Nekadesh et Shemcha ba'olam Kishem shemakdishim oto b'shmei maron Kakatuv al yad nevi'echa V'kara zel ze ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Melech ol haaretz Kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Ma'adir Shimcha V'chol haaretz Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo Echad hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu V'hu Yashmienu Berachamav L'nei Kol Chai Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Zion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagid Godlecha Unetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed is the Lord, the holy God.
Please be seated. Hashvi, Ubayom Hashvi, Shabbat Vayinavash, Shabbat Vayinavash, V'shamru B'nei Yisrael, Et HaShabbat, La'asor Et HaShabbat, L'dorotam B'rit Olam. V'shamru B'nei Yisrael, Et HaShabbat, La'asor Et HaShabbat, L'dorotam B'rit Olam. We're on page 309. We read together in English. Our God, God of ages past, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us with your goodness, and let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, O Lord our God, let your holy Sabbath remain our heritage, that all Israel, following your name, may find rest and peace. Blessed is the Lord, the Sabbath and his holiness. Be gracious, O Lord our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. O may our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst and in the midst of our people in Zion. Blessed is the Lord, whose presence gives life to Zion and all Israel. We gratefully acknowledge you are the Lord our God, God of our people, God of all generations. You are the God of our life, our shield of every age. We thank you for your grace, for our eyes to your hand, for our souls to in your keeping, signs of your presence being after every day. For your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. You are goodness, your mercy never end. You are compassion, you are love, never fail. You are always our hope. For all these things, O sovereign God, let your name be forever exalted and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Lord, whose nature is goodness, we give you thanks and praise. Sing Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu Ve'al Yisrael Ve'al Yisrael Amecha B'cheinu Avinu K'lanu Gehad Ve'or Panecha Ki ve'or Panecha Nata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu. Sing Shalom, sing Shalom, Tova Uvracha, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael Amecha, Torah chaim v'ahavat chesed, u'tzachar V'chaim v'shalom. Sing Shalom, Tova Uvracha, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al Yisrael Amecha, v'tov v'yenecha levach et amcha Yisrael b'chol ובכל שם בשלומך. שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Peace, happiness and blessing, grace and love and mercy, may these descend on us, on all Israel and all the world. Bless us, our Creator,
one and all, with the light of your presence. By that light, O God, you have revealed to us the law of life, of love, kindness, and justice and mercy. Speak blessing, life, and peace.
O bless your people Israel and all peoples with enduring peace. Praise be the Lord, who blesses his people Israel with peace. The Seder Kriyat Torah is on page 417, the service for the reading of the Torah. 417.
Ein k'mocha ve'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut, kol olamim, u'memsheltecha b'chol dor v'dor. There is none like you, O Lord, among the gods that I worship, and there are no deeds like yours. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Yimloch, Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Yivarech, Et Amo V'Shalom. The Lord rules, the Lord will reign forever and ever. May the Lord give strength to his people. May the Lord bless his people with peace.
Please rise. Let us declare the greatness of our God and give honor to the Torah. This is the sacred Torah. Heidi, in but a moment, will begin chanting from the beginning of the Midbar, the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers, as she will tell you, starts off by reciting the names of the heads of the tribes of all of Israel. Heidi adds her name to the long list of children who honor their parents and their grandparents by pledging themselves to this Torah. And indeed this morning, we give her this Torah by first handing it to her grandparents and her parents and into her arms. For without their loving support, it would not be in her arms. And without her pledge to hold it and to protect it, they would not have the fortitude and patience to make sure that she learned it. And one day, Heidi May this Torah be passed by you to a generation to come. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. For from Zion goes forth this Torah. We're on page 418.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Eloheinu, Kadosh Shema.
Our God is one, our Lord is great, holy is His name. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai, Iti Unramama Shemo Yachdav. O magnify the Lord with me, and together let us exalt His name.
Please be seated.
Heidi, my prayer to you. You light the world with a sparkling eye. You see the beauty from earth to sky. You open your heart as if to say, this is going to be the best day. Please take the lessons learned from life. Don't dwell on unnecessary strife. Be kind and generous as you are today. Make a difference in someone's life each day. Open your heart to someone new. Make them feel like someone too. Respect others as you have been taught. Remember, respect is earned, not bought. You will always be admired for your warmth and care. You should judge others especially fair. Guide your judgment, grow it with age. The lessons of life will be your stage. I wish you good things that life can bring. I wish you the comforts of queen and king. But don't be afraid of new challenges brought your way. The future will be what it meant. The book of life will guide your road. Don't be discouraged with a heavy load. Keep one eye peeled on the light in the distance and plow through the problem with great insistence. Don't let the spirit and enthusiasm ever die. Things just happen, so utter a sigh. Sleep on the problem and rise the next day and make it happen with obstacles in your way. I pray for your health and happiness too, the strength and compassion to do what you want to do. That love will surround you every day, and God will be with you in every way.
My dear Heidi, today you have inherited a great honor. You have received the Torah. What an honor. Many generations have sacrificed their lives for these teachings. Remember, dear, in our family it was only 2 generations ago when that sacrifice was made. I pray you will always be worthy of this inheritance. It's not to be taken lightly. I want you to take these teachings into your heart and mind, but I always want you to question. Yes, question. Only by questioning your teachings do you gain wisdom and fully understand God's intent. Bless you, my daughter.
My Torah portion is from the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verses 1 through 19. It's about Moses having to take a census of all the tribes that were walking through the desert with him. He needed to take a census to see how many men there were that could bear arms and fight against their enemies that were going to attack. In the Torah, Moses states all of the names that are taken in the census. Well, you're probably asking yourself, what's the big deal with saying all the names? When God commanded Moses to take a census, the people that were following him out of the desert thought that they were too weak to fight against these big, strong armies, and that they didn't have enough people to fight against them either. God could have been trying to show how many young people they really had, which is much more than they thought they had. When the people saw the census that was taken, they saw they really had enough strength to beat the armies. God is making them aware of the potential they had. Even in today's world, we oftentimes don't really look at all the strength we have to do something, and it takes something like the census Moses took to show what potential we have. God could have been sending the message of, don't sell yourself short. When the Jews were walking through the desert, they were ready and willing to just give in and let the armies come and take them away to work as slaves again. If God had not told Moses to take a census, the Jews would be selling themselves short of the right of freedom they had fought for against the Egyptians so hard. In this way, they got enough courage within themselves to fight against the armies and not sell themselves short of their rights. It's so important to say the names of the people because it's a way of honoring our ancestors. They set the pace for us to stand up for what we believe in. In a way, they serve as role models for us. If it weren't for them, the Jews would not have the belief in themselves to fight against the enemies that we have today. We should honor them because if it wasn't for them, we might still be working for other people in the lands of the Middle East. They showed us that we can be leaders and that we too can build a better world for us and the generations that will follow us. When the Jews were walking through the desert, there were tribes within a large group of Jews. Those tribes were very important to the group because they separated the different families and they showed who belonged to what family. By saying the names of the tribe in the Torah, we are showing the people of today the importance of those tribes. The names were recorded in the Torah a long time ago, and in all the years that have gone by, a lot of people have forgotten the importance of the tribes. With them being in the Torah, for us to read every year, it reminds us every year how important the tribes were to the group of Jews and keeps us thinking about how important our families are to us today. Names take a very important role in my life. They show honor to the people I was named after, and they show importance to the family. I was named after my grandfather Harry Show. I never got a chance to meet him, but I still feel like there is a connection with our names, and a part of him is living inside of me. By not getting the chance to meet him, it doesn't let me know what kind of person, what he was like in person. My mom has told me a lot about him, and from that I feel that by being named after him, it shows me more about him without getting to meet him than anything else would. My grandpa had many good characteristics in him that I have in me. By being named after his Hebrew and English name, I hope that those characteristics have been passed down to me. He was a very caring person and didn't like to see people get hurt. Likewise, when I see people being left out, I want to go help them. When there's a new kid that comes to our school district, I reach out to him or her and help him or her meet new people and make new friends. It makes me feel good when I do those kinds of things because I know that the characteristics of my grandpa have been passed down to me and is being shown through me. My grandpa was a person who likes to make people happy. When someone is hurt, I always want to go to them if I can and cheer them up with a joke or a story. I like to do things for my friends and family that will help them out and take some of the stress I put on them away. To me, I think that one of the most important things in life is to be happy with who you are, where you're from, and to be all around happy. If I have the ability and the chance to make that come true for someone, I will take all of my strength to do that until it comes true for even just one person. If just one person is happy, then that person can do for someone else what I did for them and pass on me happiness. By having that view, it connects me to my grandpa, Harry Shope, L'Kor Livracha. May his name and memory be for us a blessing.
Yes, God. You can follow along the Torah portion and the Haftarah portion that Heidi will be reading from. She's reading from the very beginning of the book of Numbers, Bamidbar. She'll be chanting that portion. There are booklets that have been prepared, and you can follow along the reading there. For the first Aliyah, we call upon Heidi's father, Bruce Kaufman, grandmother and grandfather Shirley and Howard Kaufman, and aunts Faye Kaufman, Judy Kravitz, and I think that's it. Yamdu Rishonim, Baruch Yosel ben Nuta Abba Vesara, Sarah bat Menachem Mendel, Yehudis Bashel Fege Mendel, ben Nuta Abba ben Yisrael.
Baruch Adonai Hambayarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'elam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambayarach Le'elam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher b'shanu mikol hamin v'natan lanu Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Ve'ahavta
No.
V'daber Adonai el Moshe Midbar Sinai be'ochel moed be'echad lechodesh hasheni b'shana hasheni utzitam me'eretz Mitzrayim lemor se'u ed rosh kol adat b'nei Yisrael לממשפחותם, לבית אבותם, מספר שמות, כל זכר לגוגלתם. מבין 20 שנה ומעלה, כל יוצאי צבא בישראל, תפקדו אותם, לציב אותם אתה ואהרון.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tahenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, we call upon Heidi's grandmother, Ann Shope, and her uncle Jeffrey show. Yamdu Sheni Chana Bat Yitzchak V'Yosel Ben Tzvi.
Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikol chamim, v'natan lanu et torata. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
וידכם יהיו איש למטה, איש ראש לבית אבותיו, ואלה שמות הנשים אשר יעמדו איתכם, לראובן אליצור בן שדאור, לשמעון שלומיאל בן צורי שדי, ליהודה נחשון בן עמינדב, ליששכר נתנאל בן צוער.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam otah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the third Aliyah, we call upon Heidi's sister, Ashley Kaufman. Tamod Shlishi, Aliza Tema, Bat Yehudit V'Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
לזבולון אליאב בן חילון, לבני יוסף לאפרים, אלישמע בן עמיחוד, למנשה גמליאל בן פרצור, לבנימין אבידן בן גדעוני, לדן אחייזר בן עמישדי, לאשר פגיאל בן אוכרן, לגד אליסף בן דאואל, לנפתלי אחירה בן עינן. אלה קריאי העדה, נשיאי מטות אבותם, ראשי אלפי ישראל הם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטל בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. And now for the fourth Aliyah, Heidi's mom, Judy, will recite the blessings before and after. Ta'amod Revi'i Yehudit Bat Chana V'Tzvi.
Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'olamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
ויקח משה ואהרון את הנשים האלה אשר נקבו בשמות, ואת כל העדה באחד לחודש השני, ויעלו על משפחותם לבית אבותם מספר שמות מבין 20 שנה ומעלה לגולגלותם. כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה ויתקדם במדבר סיני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'derechenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Now Heidi is also reading the maftir, the final 3 verses of the Torah portion. And we have Heidi then recite the blessings before and after those last 3 verses. We call her by her Hebrew name, Tzviya bat Yehudit veBaruch.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach le'elam ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'elam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
וידבר אדוני אל משה ואל אהרון לאמור, אל תכריתו את שבט משפחות הקטיף מתוך הלוויים, וזאת עשו לכם, וחיו ולא ימותו, וישתם את קודש הקודשים. אהרון ובניו יבואו ושמו אותם, איש איש על עבודתו ואל מסעו, ולא יבואו לראות קבלה את הקודש ומתו.
Yeah, Shekar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam neta b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Chanting the Torah portion, especially one as lengthy as this, 19 verses from the beginning, the complete first section of the Sedra, plus the maftir, takes some extra commitment. And that is proof that you took to heart the words you said, that you would go the extra distance in order to bring honor to your family and to hold up the pledge of your own commitment. And as you have so honored your family and this congregation through that hard work, so too is there a blessing for you, Heidi. A blessing which rabbis have been privileged to recite for those students who have come up to recite the blessings and read from the Torah, the Misha Berach for our Bat Mitzvah. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, v'Zilpah. Hu yivarech et habachura Tzviya bat Yehudit v'Baruch בעבור שאלת היום לכבוד המקום, לכבוד השבת ולכבוד התורה, וליתן שבח והודאה לשם הגדול והקדוש על כל הטובה אשר עשה לה אלוקים מיום היוולדה עד היום הזה. בשכר זה הקדוש ברוך הוא יחייך וישמירך, ותהיה שלמה עם אדוני אלוהיך, להגות בתורתו, ללכת בדרכיו, לשמור מצוותיו, חוקותיו ומשפטיו, ותהיה משכילה ומצליחה בכל דרכיך, ותמצא חן בשכלתו בעיני אלוהים ואדם. ויזכו חוריך לגדלה, לתורה ולחופה ולמעשים טובים. ונאמר אמן. May the Lord, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, bless Heidi Kaufman, who's come up to this bima to honor God, to honor the Torah, to honor this congregation, and honor Shabbat, to give thanks to God for all the good that has been hers since the day of her birth. to count her blessings. And so we ask God, Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy and Blessed be He, to guard her, to protect her, to bring her a long life of good health and happiness. And we say, may she always find favor in the sight of God and all who meet her, and may her parents have the privilege of raising her to womanhood, to a life in which she'll live up to the ideals of Torah, to the ideals of her heritage, in which they will one day be privileged to escort her under the chuppah to a life of marriage and good deeds. And let us say,
Amen.
as we are about to raise the Torah and show you where Heidi has read, will you please rise in respect? וזאת התורה שעשה משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. Again, you can follow the Haftarah portion in the booklets that have been passed out. We're reading from the prophet Hosea, and Heidi will say the blessings before and after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bachar b'nviim tovim retzav divrehem ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'Yivei ha'emet v'tzedek. Uvakadati aleha et yamei habalim asher taktir lahem v'ta'ad nizma v'cheliata v'telech aharei ma'ahaveha v'oti shacha ne'um Adonai. Lachen hine anochi mefateha v'hulachtiha hamidbar v'dibarti al liba v'nantati la et kerameha misham ve'et emek achor lefatach tikva v'anta shama kimei neureha uchyom alota me'eretz Mitzrayim v'haya v'yom hahu ne'um Adonai tikri ishi v'lo tikri li od ba'ali v'hasiroti et shemot habalim mipitha v'lo yizachru od bichmam v'charati lehem Barit bayom hahu im hayat hasadeh ve'im of hasadmayim v'remes ha'adama v'keshet v'cherev u'milchama ashbor min ha'aretz v'hishkavtim levetach v'erastich li le'elam v'erastich li b'tzedek u'mishpat v'chesed u'vrachamim v'erastich li le'elam v'erastich li be'emunah v'yada'at et Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol halomim tzadik b'chol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'oseh hamdeber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu liktushav limnucha lechavod u'tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shemcha b'aficho chai tmi le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yesher koach. We're on page 422. We're about to return the Torah to the Aron HaKodesh. Will you please rise in respect?
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav Shemo levado. Let us praise the name of the Lord, for His name alone is exalted.
We're on page 424. Please read with us responsibly.
The Torah of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul.
The teaching of the Lord is sure, revives the soul.
Precepts of the Lord are right, delighting the mind.
The mitzvah of the Lord is clear, enlightening the eyes.
The word of the Lord is pure, enduring forever.
The judgments of the Lord are true and altogether just.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you. My Torah, do not forsake it. It is the tree of life to those who hold it fast. And all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
Please be seated. To make a presentation to Heidi on behalf of the Temple community, we call upon our congregation's Vice President, Debbie Weinstein.
Heidi, we have shared many wonderful occasions together as friends and family, and today is no exception. As you were reading your Torah portion today, I remembered you as a little girl playing at our house, running around, looking for the afikomen with Daniel and the rest of the kids. And today you really have shown yourself to become a fine young woman as you led our congregation in prayer. And I'm honored and privileged to be a part of your extended family as I make this presentation to you. First of all is the Tanakh, which is the English translation of the Hebrew Bible, and I hope you use this as a reference as you grow older and continue your Jewish studies. And also your Bat Mitzvah certificate, which states that today Heidi Kaufman has become a Bat Mitzvah on May 15, 1999. Welcome.
Heidi, I have two more gifts for you. First of all, from the Reform movement, the NIFTY is the youth group of all of the Reform movement, and they have tours for teenagers to Israel. Not 1 week, 10-day kind of experiences, but 3 weeks, even 3-month experiences, even a high school experience to Israel, exchange programs. And this gift certificate will help make it possible for you to participate in one of those programs. The idea is either with NIFTY or with any other group to find your way to Israel, to see where those tribes that you read about, where those tribes dwell, where your ancestors walked, and where the heart of the Jewish people still lies, in Jerusalem and in Haaretz. In addition to that, I'm giving you this Chumash. Now, the congregation gave you a Tanakh, the English translation of all of the Jewish Bible, the Holy Scriptures. This has the 5 books of Moses, from Genesis through Deuteronomy. And it includes, of course, your Torah portion, Bamidbar, both in the Hebrew and in a modern English translation, with commentary, both modern and ancient. You'll find comments from the Talmud and the Mishnah, and comments from men and women who are scholars to this day who are exploring the links of this Torah portion to this day. And that's what you did today. You took this list of names and you said, there's a lesson there for me. As I see the significance of my name, the significance of my family's history, the importance of remembering who I am and where I come from, so too did my ancestors say the same thing. And so you drew a lesson and a parallel which brought to life this Torah. And I hope that every week and throughout your long and healthy life, that this Torah will bring you blessings and insights, the wisdom of God and our Jewish heritage. The prophet Hosea in the Haftarah found a very interesting problem in the vocabulary of Hebrew, which we find to this day. And that is, a word that we use for something can imply or can convey certain impressions which are false or misleading. There is a false or misleading impression that the relationship between a husband and a wife in the biblical days and from the biblical teachings is one of the husband being the master and the wife being subordinate. Now, anybody knows anything about Jewish family life knows that there has no reality at all in that relationship. It isn't true now. It wasn't true for our parents, and it wasn't true back then either. Now, you had some abusive situations, and you had some situations which needed to be addressed. But the ideal relationship between husband and wife in the Bible, in the biblical age, and throughout Jewish history has always been one of partnership. The prophet Hosea, in this verse which Heidi read, he says, "V'haya b'yom haku ne'um Adonai." It should be that there will be a relationship where tikre'i ishi v'lo tikre'i li od ba'ali. Now, Hosea, in teaching this lesson, relates the relationship of husband and wife to Israel and God. And Hosea is saying, just as the ultimate relationship between husband and wife should not be ba'ali, i.e., master, because one of the Hebrew words for husband is Baal, is master, is head of the household, is the owner, the possessor. And the prophet says, that's not the ideal. That may be a vocabulary word, but that doesn't convey the essence and the ideal of what we want in a relationship. Rather, the other Hebrew word for a husband is what we're talking about for real marriage. The other word for husband is what we're talking about when we're referring to the ideal. And that is not Ba'ali, master, ruler, owner, but rather Ishi, my husband. Literally, my man. Ishi. And Hosea said, just as in a marriage, you can't have a boss and a servant. So too in our relationship with God. It's not boss and servant, although that speaks of some aspects, I suppose, of the relationship. We speak of reverence for God. But if our relationship with Hashem, with the Lord, is simply, He's given these orders and these commandments, and I'm following them as an obedient soldier, it's an empty relationship. It's empty of love and commitment and devotion to the ideals of the relationship. Rather, Hosea said, what we're looking for, the Yom Hahu, in the ultimate relationship between Israel and God, between a husband and a wife, is not Ba'ali, my master, but Ishi, my partner. God is partner. And we, as God's partner, some have faith based only on this power relationship. And that's why they have a hard time with the notion of God. Because the power relationship is, I suppose, sometimes like a parent to a child. The parent is loving to the child and will give instructions to the child and expect the child to follow those instructions. But if it's only a power trip, then when the kid asks, but why, Mom and Dad? Why do you want me to do this? What's the purpose of my task that you're giving me? If the parent responds only with that frustrated, because I told you so and I'm your parent, after a while the kid thinks, well, there's nothing to this relationship other than a power trip. And when I have the ability to remove this power from me, I will. But if there can be a relationship with a parent, somehow, in moments of patience, can convey to the child, according to his or her own level, what they need and why it's important and what the overall vision is, the goals of their life and their relationship, then the kid may still disagree. The kid may still fight and struggle because they're kids. At least they'll know they're a part of it. And they can grow and strive to live up to those ideals. In faith as well. If you think that the mitzvot, the commandments, which Heidi as a bat mitzvah has just adopted, if those commandments are simply orders, are simply instructions which she must follow right or wrong, then how empty it is. What a power trip. And then the upshot is, well, okay, God, if I follow these commandments, right, then things that are good and blessed will always happen to me. But then, what happens when there are, in our families, tragedies, when there are sickness, when there are disappointments? Hey, God, I did my bit. I lit the candles, I said the motzi over the challah, I went to shul. And people to this day will come up to me, Rabbi, I davened all the time. I used to put on tefillin, and I went to the shul all the time. But still, I didn't get to play third base. I still didn't win the lottery. Great things didn't happen. I had disappointments in my life. Well, yeah. Because the relationship is not one of God as genie, God as commander-in-chief, and you as the good soldier, and as long as you follow the orders, good blessings will come to you. It's a partnership. God has planted within each and every one of us blessings, answers to our prayers which can already come true. You want a healed relationship? God has given you the power within yourself, within each and every one of us, to make that relationship healed. All you have to do is be man enough or woman enough to seek forgiveness, to seek rapprochement, to admit weakness, to admit mistakes, to be big enough to forgive mistakes. Hosea extends that analogy of the relationship between husband and wife to Israel and God by then writing the phrase which many rabbis use under the chuppah, and which those of you who lay tefillin will recognize. Ve'erastich li le'olam ve'erastich li b'tzedek u'v'mishpat v'chesed u'rachamim Ve'rastifri be'emunah yedat et Adonai. I betroth you to me as you're taking the strap of tefillin and wrapping around your fingers. I betroth you to me forever. I betroth you to me in righteousness and in justice, with compassion and kindness. And these same words that we use to wrap the tefillin around our fingers, in the final act, you can find the blessings, this passage from Hosea, in the prayers for putting on tefillin, in this prayer book that we used this morning. Yes, Reform Jews do put on tefillin. They can. The same words are used by the husband and wife as they stand under the chuppah and pledge one another to the other. Pledge themselves to the other. Saying, as I am pledging myself to have a relationship to you in kindness and in justice, with compassion, so too I hope to have a relationship with God. Now there's an interesting phenomenon about the tefillin. Those of you who put on tefillin will know that there's a shel rosh and a shel yad. Now, the box on the shel rosh, the little box that goes on the forehead, and the shel yad, the box that goes on the forearm, or on the bicep of your left arm against your heart, they have the same passages. There's the Shema and the V'ahavta, passages that we have also in the mezuzah. And the difference between those two boxes is interesting. The passages that go on the shel rosh, on the head, are divided out into their 4 separate sections from the Torah and are placed into 4 separate chambers for the forehead. And the box that is for the bicep of the left arm against the heart, it has the same passages from the Torah, but not in 4 separate sections, but in one long scroll, rolled up in a larger piece and shoved into a single chamber. So we have a single chamber against our heart and 4 chambers on our forehead. And the rabbi said there's a good reason for this. Because God has given each of us an independent self. We have a mind that works in a unique way for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us can look at life, can look at our relationships and see something different. And we have different talents. We have different things to offer. We have different blessings. We can configure this world in our minds intellectually in a number of different ways. And Judaism never has had a set catechism where certain beliefs are an absolute. In our Talmud, we have debate after debate after debate, minority opinions and contradictions, all collected, all read, all studied, so that we're never told what we must believe. Rather, we appreciate the spectrum of the intellectual possibility. And the rabbi said that is like the 4 chambers of the shel rosh. That our relationship to God and to our heritage must include intellectual independence, must have critical thought. Your father said questions. Every Talmudic passage has a question. Rashi, who was the great commentator of the Torah, he would ask koshi after koshi, difficult question after difficult question. And the students of Rashi to this day ask, Maha koshi, what's the issue here? What is the problem? What's the contradiction? Not something that we take with whole cloth, but rather we approach the relationship with God as a husband with the wife, as a wife would with a husband, as a son or daughter with a parent. If this is what you're telling me, what does it mean? Why do you want me to do it? What's the essence? What's the ideal? Because if you want a robot, that's not a relationship. That's a Baal, a ruler over a subject. But if you want a relationship, then we have to find some accommodation for different perspectives and thought. But after this independence of thought, and the creativity, and the analysis, then the rabbi said, we have the shel yad, we have that single chamber against our heart. That regardless of our different opinions, regardless of our different ideas, regardless of our different intellectual perceptions, we can still be one in heart, one in faith, one in loving, compassionate relationship. So too in a marriage where the two complement each other, sometimes in their disagreements. So too in the relationship between parent and child, where we complement each other when we explore the reasons behind our requests and our lifestyle. And the relationship between a bat mitzvah and God. Why are we doing this? What is it all about? Heidi, you are embarking on a life that will involve many, many questions. And those questions are the essence of what it means to be a Jew. Not following blindly, but wrestling with it. We are B'nai Yisrael, children of a wrestler, children of ancestors who asked the hard question and who in every generation said, let us establish our relationship with God in our generation and make it fresh and make it vital because it's ours. Heidi, the commitment that you made to study Torah, to explore its meanings, to chant from the Torah, and to see the link that you have in your life to your grandfather Harry, alav shalom. May his memory be a blessing for all of us. That commitment shows that you're taking the essence of what was cherished in the previous generations and you're going to make it yours. You're going to make it blessed. And for that, I call you once more to this bima, to feel the blessings of your people and your heritage, of your family, and of this Kehillah Kodesh, this holy congregation, as we'll open the Aron HaKodesh, we'll open the ark doors, and ask you to rise, as Heidi will pledge herself to the Torah and receive the blessings of our people.
O Lord, God of my people, I stand before you today in the bat mitzvah. I hear the words that surround me. Torah, the word we use to describe your teaching. Mitzvah, the word we use to mean your commandment. As I have now read from the teachings of your Torah and feel the power of your commanding word, I ask you to help me. Help me see the value of your teaching and the worth of remaining loyal to the Jewish way. Inspire me so that I may always keep these gifts with me wherever I go and whatever I do. Praised are you, O Lord, our God, ruler of the universe, for giving me life, for sustaining me, and enabling me to reach this happy day. As a bat mitzvah, I have now taken upon myself the mitzvah or obligation of Jewish learning. In the presence of my family and teachers, I pledge this day to continue my studies in the Temple Religious School until I am confirmed.
we'll continue with Aleinu on page 615.
Ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shmayim ima'al v'yal ha'aretz mitachar. He spread out the heavens and established the earth. He is our God, there is none else. In truth, He alone is our King, as it is written. Know then this day and take it to heart. The Lord is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else. Therefore hope the Lord our God, soon to behold the glory of your might. Then will false skies vanish from our hearts, and our world will be conquered and challenged. And then will all acclaim you as their God, and forsaking evil turn to you alone. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend, and every tongue swear your oath. Before you, O Lord our God, let them humble themselves. To your glorious name let them give honor. Let all accept the yoke of your kingdom, that you may rule over them soon and forever. For the kingdom is yours, and to all eternity you will reign glorious, as is written. The Lord will reign forever. V'ne'emar ve'ayadonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz b'yom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad v'shemo The Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, is on page 629. Let us pause for a moment and recall our loved ones who have passed away, but whose memory we keep alive through our actions and our love. May their memories be for us a blessing as we rise now to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadal Shemei v'amad v'rach Elokei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael b'agalav zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbam v'rach le'olam v'amei amen. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'ramam yitnaseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal Shemei v'risha v'richu ve'ela mincha b'chata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata dam yam yama v'yamu amen. Yehi shalom rabba mitzvay v'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'yamu amen. Oseh shalom huyas shalom aleinu v'akol Yisrael. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. For the closing song, we're going to call up two of Heidi's nieces, cousins, Stephanie and Rachel Schopen, and who will help us sing Adon Olam.
And just to remind everyone to please go as quickly as you could into the social hall. There you'll find wine and bread for Kiddush and the Motzi, and Heidi and her family will be leading us in Kiddush and the Motzi, so that a nice way to start the rest of our Shabbat celebration. A special word of thanks to Sharon Leibowitz, our choir director, and to Connie and Sherry and Barbara and Harvey, our volunteer choir, men and women who give of their time to volunteer to lead us in music. So thank you very much again for your gift. Adon Olam can be found in the back of your prayer books on page 729. Heidi, you're front to the center. Oh, you need to be there too? Okay. Allah, I that too. Adon Olam Hashem Olam L'derech kol zikron Le'nazot le'etzon kol Adonai melech Shemon Yisrael Yahweh Yivotato Le'nazot Le'nazot Nicely done. Adonai Adonai Yivarech et Amo V'Shalom. May the Lord who blesses our people with strength give us this Shabbos filled with happiness, good health. Mazal Tov, Shabbat Shalom.
Good work.
I had my eye on you back there. Yeah.
All the classes. Yes, Heidi. No. Yes. Grace is kill a young adult and finally. Ready for the
Yeah, you were great.
Ready? We're gonna sing about it. No. That's okay. You okay? I'll give you separate. Stuff in the wine and bread. No.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei l'chaim.
May I have a shove it? Oh, you can, friends.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Tetavon.
This is the homemade one. You got to try this one. This is olive heart.
You eat your winter eats right there, okay?
After the luncheon. After the luncheon.
Oh, okay. Then I don't have to worry.
This is special bread.
See the inside. No, clean it.
Oh, these are all right.
Daddy, Mama. Get this, please. I got these at like you guys can't get the rest of
Let's get some to eat,
But I will let you, I have one else for the job, and actually,
Yeah, they do. They really change. Oh, he was not even that good. Yeah, that's why he was my co-teacher. Thank you, Sherry.
Michael thought you were wonderful.
Thank you, Precious. She won't sing.
But that's the